Hey, folks. Well, I want you to just take a moment. We've been talking about this incredible characteristic that God supernaturally wants to be a part of our life, that is obviously very important to Him because He describes His motivation as, number one, God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. So this is certainly a characteristic that He wants us to come to know and to see. And we talked about the fact in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 12 that when, first of all, it begins in that area, in that context. When I was a child, I spake as a child. When I became a man, I put away these childish things. It talks about now we see in a glass or a mirror and it's vague, but then we shall see face to face. Now we know in part, but then we will know as we are known. You get the sense of maturing, of things becoming clearer, kind of like the Apostle Paul praying in Ephesians chapter 3 and verse 17 and on, where his summation was that we would know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge. Anything that we know or even consider as to how it should be implemented or acted out, it's beyond that. This is eternal love. This is God's love for us that He wants to impart to us. But we closed out last devotion talking about those people that perhaps can't see the goodness of God. We've spoken on this in the past. In Jeremiah 17 and verse 6, the man that trusts in the arm of the flesh, he'll not see good when it comes. It's not prosperity. That's one definition for the Hebrew word, but typically the word tov means good. Can't see good. So think of all the goodness that God has poured out on us and the world around us. And as much as we can find fault with it, think of all the good things that God has given to us. Your life, your health, your loved ones, your job, any possession that you own. The fact that we can even fellowship with one another in this nation is an incredible blessing. Think of all the good things, the world that we live in, that God created for us, the beauty of it, all of the just simple little things that we take advantage of, or how can I say, take for it, granted. These are all acts of God's kindness. You can say, well, I work for that. Well, who gave you the strength to work? Who gave you the opportunity or the mind or opened that door for you? God did. That's why when we recognize His goodness towards us, which is a direct aspect of His love, then we're thankful and we return and we respond to that, whether it be in giving to others or giving to sharing the blessings that we've received with others. It's an unspeakable gift, Paul says in 2 Corinthians 9:15, for a person to come to that, to understand that we relate to God's love in such a way. And we all know the verse in 2 Corinthians 5:14 that it's God's very love that motivates us. It's what constrains us. It allows us to view the world in a very different way. It has to be something that's supernatural. What happens when a person doesn't see it? Well, this has been a consideration for me. I've been thinking about this and kind of mulling it over time and time again. In Ecclesiastes 3:11, the Word of God says that God placed eternity in our heart. Now we know that eternity is that aspect that relates to God Himself. He is an eternal being. He declares the end from the beginning. He spans. Time is just a small segment of His existence. He's greater than all that is. So God placed this unsearchable realm within our heart. And we can't search it out and know it. But He placed it there so it could be filled with Him. And that aspect that He wants to just pour into that is His very nature, beginning with the fact that He loved us enough to share it with us. to share himself with us. Think about that. What happens when a person turns their back on that? Then, from my perspective, then that very, how can I say it, desire, eternal desire, becomes like a black hole, just absorbing all the goodness and reflecting none of it. Look, God created us to look into all that he's given us and to reflect back to others our thankfulness and our recognition of that goodness. It's kind of like it says there, as we said in 1 Corinthians 13:12, we're looking into that mirror. It's vague, but we're getting to know the one who knows us. We're looking into the perfect word law of liberty there in James 1 and verse 25, I believe it is. And we're just stooping down and we're being changed. We're looking into the face of Jesus in 2 Corinthians 3:17, and we're being changed from glory to glory. It's this process that's going on. It's a supernatural thing, something we're receiving. Or we're looking at the world around us and we have no recognition of the one who, as a aspect of his love and his goodness, poured these things out on us, and we absorb it all, only to reflect none of it. Look, I don't know about you, but I don't want my family to see somebody that achieves certain goals or attain, certain things, or, accomplish a task, or, or was just, quote unquote, a nice guy. I want them to see someone that was motivated by something that was greater than anything that anyone else that they've seen or known could produce. I want them to see something that is supernatural. And not because something supernatural happened, but because someone supernatural lives in me. I know this is what Sue and I have dedicated our Christian lives to. That our children and grandchildren and those members of the church and others that we have relationships with would see something that wasn't just natural, but it was supernatural. If they would just look, they would see it. I hope that's what we all want. This is what allows us, this very motivation allows us to put up with all the negativity and chaos that we see in our world through so many choices that people make, and still be kind, because we know the God who has given us a victory over all of this that has greater value than anything this world will offer us. Till next time, friends, God bless you.